Welcome back to New Script on the Block. We're actually still on Parapeople. This is episode 2, part 2. Emperor Strikes Back, 2, episode whatever. This is Parapeople again. We have Josh Luna with us. Josh?
I like how you sound so distressed about having to keep talking to me. That makes me feel good as a person.
Yeah. Well,
it's good to be back.
That's great. And I'm also back with my co-host, Grahm.
Yeah, that would be me.
And we're going to talk about Parapeople again. Damn it.
Wow, damn it. Yeah, that's... Buckle in. It's going to be a good one.
All right. And here's our feedback. Oh, boy. There was just a lot of roles that we had to fill, so...
hopefully it wasn't too confusing for the audience, but...
Yeah, audience. Well, I guess being that is my voice, I did voice Sean and Alice and Cindy. And Nicole. So all the girls, I guess.
Yeah, you did a really good job. I was like, I should have cast you.
It's in here.
As all of them, yeah.
It's kind of like, Bob's Burgers, where most of the females are, like, dudes. Or, well, Linda is a dude, so, yeah.
So is Tina.
Yeah, Tina's a dude, too. Cool. So, I definitely have a couple of questions, but I want to open it up and see what we want to talk about first. Grahm,
So, I'm glad you mentioned, The Office, because when I first, initially went through this, I heard, Michael Scott, just immediately, and just, that dry humor. So, I'm glad that you said you pulled inspiration from there, because I definitely heard it. And not that it's a bad thing. But I feel like there's less people that you can connect to, and they're all kind of assholes. What Jeff is, I feel is the person that I can kind of connect to. He's kind of, the most normal person. And tell me if I'm wrong.
Oh, no.
Everyone else just kind of seems like an asshole.
Right.
So I just thought that was cool that you pulled inspiration from The Office.
Yeah, no. So did you guys all kind of check it out before today?
Yeah, we were once you gave Alyssa the script, she gave it to us just kind of look over before we do this podcast, just so we can get ourselves familiar. So yeah. Anything else you want to add with that? What you just said, or you want to add to what he said?
Yeah, no. My goal is to make everybody on some level kind of a despicable asshole, but they also all have some redeeming quality as well. So mostly they're all just kind of bad people. That have moments where they're maybe not so terrible.
Yeah.
I guess Paula is also not terrible.
Yeah, she's kind of just oh shit, I'm getting screwed over here.
Yeah, so. But she takes it, right? Yikes. Let's see. I guess the burning question that I have, I'm sure I have more, but the one that's on the top of my list is Alice helping, I think, who was it, Jeff? Was it Jeff that she agreed to help block Sean? Why'd she do that? Was it just an order that she was like, okay, I'll do it?
Pretty much, yeah. And then also...
is it Jeff that told her to do that?
Yeah, it was Jeff. And on top of that, they're also kind of they're a team. They're the researchers. So they've got sort of an unspoken partnership in the show because of the fact that they do the research together. So the hours of going through whatever it is that they're researching at the time, they kind of have, I wouldn't call it a real friendship, but they're a little bit more they'll take each other's side more often than not because of that fact.
Right. Well, maybe just to give some feedback on this, obviously it would be a very quick episode if we just it's great, and then leave.
No, of course, obviously.
So maybe that's something I would just want a little bit more of, is just what Grahm was saying is they all seem like assholes, and that's true more or less to the point where they're kind of assholes to each other, obviously. But
and that's the funny part.
Yeah, there is funny quips like that, and I know you brought up It's Always Sunny, and that's definitely truth. There's truth in that they're all bad people,
right?
Technically, but maybe just wanting to know what would motivate Alice. I know you were just saying that Alice and Jeff, they're the researchers. They have this unspoken commonality.
Okay, yeah, we'll go with that.
But that's what I mean. It's like we're only going with the assumption of some sort of commonality. So maybe to play a little bit more of who they are as both the researchers and also more or less friends, where she would like, oh yeah, I'll fuck with Sean, Jeff, yeah, I'll do it.
Right.
So just had a little bit of motivation there. That I guess that would be my reason. And I know that everyone's a dick to each other, but Sean is still, I guess he's still paying this crew because they are a crew, and I know they're not paying Paula at all, but
right.
because it's taking advantage of an intern. But part of me is like, when I read this, I was like, what's keeping this group technically together?
So, I mean, this is just the pilot. So, like, more is introduced later on as we go through. Oh, yeah,
for sure.
But they're actually, we introduce the showrunner who works for the network, that we treat like this, like Illuminati type group that, over, dark shadow organization. And so that's actually where the money is coming from for the show. And on top of that, it's, who's not going to do anything for their 15 minutes of fame? Like, yeah, I'll put up with this douchebag for a little while because I'll be on TV. And so it's kind of also making fun of, like, that aspect of our society where people are just, like, obsessed with fame. When Vine was big, people did all kinds of stupid shit on Vine because people, they got eyes on them. And, like the Logan Paul guy, people just do anything for fame. So
yeah.
I figure putting up with douchebag isn't that big of a stretch.
Well, I think that's very true, because you put a camera in front of anybody's face, like, whether it's news or whatever it is, like, they're going to do something stupid, or they're going to want to be in front of that camera. So I think that stands very true.
Okay. Let's see. Maybe just to kind of help support that idea, because if I can bring up, like, just YouTube personalities that I'm aware of, and that they were once just a YouTuber in front of a camera with their own little selfie camera, whatever.
Right.
And they grew into such an extent where they have a crew. That still kind of amazes me sometimes. To a point where YouTube insane. Personality eventually gets to the point where they can hire a crew. So maybe to play up to the fact that Sean really is a name brand, and obviously not like, maybe you don't want to put him too high on the pedestal, but he is a name brand where these people still definitely want to reach out and work with him, right? And what, I guess, the jadedness of some of these characters.
That's a fair assessment, yeah. There's a lot of jadedness.
Yeah, if there is jadedness and they're only doing this for the paycheck, as that's part of the dialogue here and there. But if Sean's not paying them that much and there is that jadedness, it's like, what really still motivates them being there? And the show hasn't even started yet. People, like, realistically, people just drop out immediately.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And it's hard for me as, like, being someone who runs with crews and stuff.
Right.
If I've ever been in this type of situation, like,
oh no, you would dip out.
I have the self-respect to dip out. But with that being said, that self-respect, if that's not there in here, like those characters, maybe that's part of their flaw.
And that comes, that definitely we see, like I said, we do see more as the show progresses. Like I got character arcs and everything. I got like individual like plot points to go through. There's not a lot of self-respect in this group. Like, it's not that. It's not really supposed to mimic what a real healthy crew should look like. It's a parody of, sure. It's looking at reality with like a fun mirror, you know what I mean? Where it's like, it's all distorted and weird, like it shouldn't work, but we're trying to make it funny anyways.
Like how The Office and also Patty's Bar and Always Sunny, you don't ever see them really doing work.
Right.
But you know that they do it.
And that's
obviously
actually part of this series I'm doing, where we almost never see them actually paranormal hunt. Like they almost never.
Oh, so it takes almost just a backdrop.
Yeah, it becomes like Patty's Pub, where because like Jeff is the only one in the group who believes in the paranormal. Alice just likes researching because she's interested in like knowledge and history and stuff like that. Nicole coming in with her like I talk to dead people. She's actually super full of shit. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't actually talk to dead people. Like it's
she's just like crazy, or she's just like
she wants that limelight too.
Yeah, definitely that. She's how would I describe it? So she's very much the entitled kind of like I'm making fun of like entitled people with her, especially when you look at other episodes, some of her moments where she expects a certain thing because she's portraying herself a certain way, so she expects people to respect or respond a certain way, and when they don't, she gets upset and offended.
I kind of like that, and I'll preface this in that unfortunately I haven't read all of the episodes that you put out, and just all that character development that's missing. If we're talking about para people as a pilot, though, I kind of like the idea that Nicole has that self-entitlement and like she wants people to feel sorry for her,
right?
So maybe to play up that type of personality and emotion that feels unique, probably.
And that's with her story in the interview where she's like, my grandmother had, she died in a horrible accident. She died in her sleep. She was 89, and she was like, it's a horrible accident. Like, she wants people to feel sorry for her and give, so, I'm trying not to give too much away of the characters in the very beginning. I know I sent you an email with the other 4. If you wanted to check it out, give me your feedback on the other 4. I love getting feedback. Anything to make it better, because that's, my end goal is to make something that is a quality product.
Right. Is now that we're talking about Nicole as a person, for some reason my brain's like, hey, Alice, is that her name?
Yeah,
Alice. She almost kind of stood out to me, especially with the coffee bit. That she's a little bit of a social justice warrior.
That's exactly yeah.
But it only plays out there.
It comes in later as well.
Yeah. In more episodes, but if you really, like, for a pilot, maybe I'm just trying to make sure these characters stand out as individuals.
Well, and for a pilot, if you are trying to sell this, I think that's kind of the point you're getting to. If you are trying to sell this as a pilot, really sell each character. Is that kind of what you're getting to?
Yeah, like, each character individually. And I know it's probably harder that we read for all the characters.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like to get the different nuances of, like, how people talk, obviously,
right.
is
and
different.
So like the actress who's going to play Nicole, like the way that she like enunciates certain words incorrectly, like really like it paints a picture of who the character is. The girl who I have playing Alice, she's going to deliver things very whiny because she's like this social justice warrior, but like in the wrong way. And again, like I absolutely get where you guys are going, and so the pilot already it's going to be close to 30 minutes, and I'm not even introducing everyone in the series yet. We have more characters come in later on, and these are just like the main players of the show. So I'm trying to give just a little flavor of who each one is, and obviously when we're all reading the parts together, like things kind of blend a little bit.
Right.
So I'm really hoping, obviously that when we're filming and directing and acting, that things come through a little bit more
for sure,
revealing of who that character is.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay.
I think these are valid points that like I'm not trying to like.
Oh
yeah,
no worries. It's take it or leave it.
Yeah,
so it's all good.
It's very. It's valid critiquing, especially if like we go to film and everyone's really flat. Then obviously something's wrong. Yeah.
Would you? I know. I probably know the answer to this already since you've moved forward. But is this too many characters at one time? Like for one episode, maybe that might be a key. Like with. I'm trying to remember pilots like the first episode of Parks and Rec and the first episode of... Sorry, I meant to say The Office for you. if you remember the first episode. And for me, Parks and Rec is one of my go-tos that I just put on because I put on. So I've watched it.
It's a great show.
You know, like, I watched it like thousands of times.
Right.
So I'm trying to think maybe like dumping all your characters is almost like showing me your full deck. Like, that might be too much. I don't know.
Well, I think in The Office, in the first episode, they had what? They had Michael, obviously, Pam, Jim, Dwight, Ryan. So it was like, I think that was like the main 5 that they focused on during the pilot. So yeah, I know I have 2 or 3 more main characters introduced here than that one does.
Like, Cindy is a funny bit, but since she's so like a new hire, like, man, you can probably introduce her a little bit later. Or sorry, Cindy and Nicole got hired both.
No, just Nicole.
But Cindy was there.
But Cindy was there for the interview.
But she was also there to fuck.
Oh, so yeah, so that's a bit at the end where she's not part of the group. Like,
but Brian brought her.
Calls her up. He's like, hey, we're at this motel. And so she's
fuck?
yeah,
all right,
yeah, and that plays a part in the finale of the season too. Like it's coming back.
Okay, so
and also like each episode moving forward, it's everybody kind of takes a back seat every now and then. So like, you know, episode 2 focuses more on certain characters. Episode 3 more on And so as we go on, you know, certain people get the limelight a little bit more to reveal more of who they are. This is just like, hey, this is our world. Like, come fuck around with us.
Right. But there's also the whole A and B story. So you have your A story where that's like the main story, and the B story is just kind of like the misadventures of another group.
Right.
You know, so I don't know if it's too soon to already do something like that, or if you've already done it like in the incoming episodes. It almost feels like sorry, I'm jumping to a different subject.
No, you're good, man.
But with Sean and who else was in that interview? Sean, Jeff, and Brian?
Yeah, so Sean was in like a second room, like kind of
like
being a voyeur.
Like he's
the
doing his
master.
little puppet man. I like that bit, but Brian being in that room as well feels like there's 2 Seans, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if you want to play the straight man who's Jeff, and then like have such a like affected individual of like, you know, of being a horn dog, like I don't know, I don't want that scene to be overwhelmed. It's like, well, Sean and Brian are just both the same person at this point. But I like the fact that, you know, you put Sean in that whole puppet master vibe. That's creepy enough, you know?
Right.
And horn doggish enough. Is Brian necessary? I just want to put that out there. Like, and if that's chunks that you can chisel away and then, like, use that space, that freed space, to do other things in the script, I mean, by all means, that could be valuable space that you can fill driving a character motivation or introducing someone in more detail.
Okay.
So.
Yes. I mean, we're not at the final edit yet, so I'm still making tweaks and whatnot here and there. So, yeah, it's a valid point.
But the erection and then it hitting him in the face, that's funny to me. What if Sean, like, you know, wanted to be the puppet master and voyeur? I really like that because it reminds me of True Lies a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But if Sean does make his way into the interview because of how hot Cindy is, like or maybe not True Lies, but what's that one? Basic Instinct?
With Sharon Stone, yeah.
Yeah, where, you know, when she crosses her legs and then in the behind the glass, the guys are getting kind of hot, and that he, like, you hear him, like, stumble, blah, 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 like, and then burst into the room. It's like, I want to be part of this interview. You know, fuck being a puppet master. And Jeff is taken aback of that, you know. That way he can also kind of negate just that whole moment with Alice, if you want to use that for something else, or don't even explore that moment. That, to me, unfortunately, I'm sorry, it's just feels a little unmotivated why Alice is so down to just help Jeff.
No, you don't have to apologize. My only problem with putting Sean in there, since he is the head of the show, he would hire Cindy. Like, what would we put in there to stop him from hiring Cindy? Like if you were at the editing table, what would you come up with?
Well, just any, like, you brought it up, the whole sexual harassment charges and stuff. Like, Jeff being the straight man in that conversation can somehow talk Sean out of it. Or, anything that can be played with the fact that Cindy is turned off by the fact that it's not pornography that she's getting into. Sean's like, I want to hire you. But Cindy's like, ew, paraphilia? Where are you guys? A bunch of, like, nerds or whatever? I don't know.
That's not bad. It's not bad.
So, like, obviously Cindy's there for the wrong reason. So,
right.
Obviously she can up and leave whenever she wants. And Nicole is the actual person, that's there to be hired as a paranormal investigator. So that kind of defaults to her. And you can have Sean bitch and moan the whole time about, like, fuck, man. We could have, like, just maybe even that motivates Sean to, like, maybe even change the whole show to, like, get into pornography. And I was like, God damn, I backed the wrong horse. But then he just, since he's too deep into being a paranormal
investigator.
No,
that's actually not a bad idea. I'm going to sit down and take a look at a couple of different things. But yeah, no, that's actually not a bad idea.
This podcast is brought to you by Arizona Studios. Arizona Studios, a full-service video content specialist. We're here to illuminate your message and compel your audience to take the right action. For more information, head to our website at arizonastudios.com and be sure to tune in for more content on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
Anything else?
I think there was only...
no, go ahead, no.
I think there was only one thing about, like, formatting. And I know, this is already in the works and everything, and it doesn't, like, formatting's all this thing about, like, you learn something in school and then people do it differently, and the people that write the Avengers are just, like, these huge movies do it however the fuck they want because they film it.
Because they can, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm just wondering, something like this where it's in quotes under, like, Jeff's name, I'm just wondering why you put that instead of, like, as narration.
It's just character action during dialogue.
It's... Because it's influencing the dialogue?
Like, yeah.
He's saying it like
right.
that?
Yeah, because it's something that he's doing at the same time that he's doing the dialogue. It's not action dialogue. It's action dialogue at the same time.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I've seen that approach so many different ways that I cannot attest if that's correct or not. Like, what you brought up is, like, people write in certain ways where it's like, are you sure? But then who cares? Because we get what it is.
Right.
Yeah. So there's that. Oh gosh.
Yeah. No. When I was coming up, I was told, like, write clean scripts until you get to the point where you don't have to write a clean.
Well,
script.
that's fucked up, isn't it? Yeah. Hey, hold on, listeners. I think that's fucked up. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
No, I mean, I get where they're coming from. Mm-hmm. If you're like a nobody trying to make your name, and you're trying to break the mold on your first script, and no one's heard of you. Most people aren't going to pay much attention to it.
Right.
It's unfortunate just because you're writing it a different way. It doesn't make the content any better or worse.
Right.
It's just that perception of, like, hey, this new kid wrote the script a clean way. He's good. A couple scripts later, you're writing with, dirty scripts where you have, like, he jumps angrily and the camera moves. And at that point, like, well, no, we know that guy. Like, yeah, fuck it. He's good. He can do that.
Like, in cinematography, when you learn the rule of 180, you're not supposed to break it. And then, like, once you get to
that rule.
Once you get to the point where it's like, you know the rule and you know how to break it. Like, there are certain ways you can break it. So it's kind of similar to that.
Right.
If you're trying to make something trippy, like break the 180, there's just a bunch of rules.
It's like Stephen King said that, like, yes, he breaks all the rules of grammar, but that's because he learned all the rules of grammar, and he's fucking Stephen King.
Right.
So it's just stuff like that. It's funny the way it works, but it is the way it is.
Mm-hmm. It's just the bane of my writing existence. Yeah. that type of... Anyway, he's heard enough of me ranting about that, like, at the office. So Do you have any questions for us of how we're supposed to feel about a certain thing or a certain character?
I think that's a tough question to ask and answer right now, especially, again, because it's 3 guys reading, like 10 different roles.
Yeah.
Half of them are girls.
Right.
In my head, I know how everyone should be talking and how everything should sound.
Right.
You guys have looked the script over once. Now we're reading it now for the first time all the way through, so it's a very cold delivery. So, I mean, if you thought it was funny, cool. If you thought there's something there, cool. If you thought it was dog shit garbage, that's cool too,
Let's see.
I'm always interested in opinions, obviously. I mean, I you don't do this kind of work to, like, not get fucking feedback, you know what I mean?
Right.
Well, and I'm a big fan of The Office, and, like, I don't know how many times I've watched it over, and then also after watching it over, it's just playing in the background, so I just I see snippets. The payoff at the end with Paula.
Yeah.
Like, her dad calling, I think that's brilliant, because it's like the entire time that's what she's worried about, and then at the end it's like, oh shit.
Yeah. Here it comes, right? I like that, and when it comes to, like, shows like this, I usually, for some reason, always enjoy a very small side character. I'm trying to think of a couple. Like, in The Office,
Creed.
Is it Creed? Yeah, he's
Creed,
such a small role, but everything he does is golden, because he's so shady. And, like, what, Kevin? Is the guy with the chili?
Yeah, that was...
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just, I wonder if you have a character like that to fall in love with.
Yeah, we have a couple that are coming in. Like, Mark has a kind of an insight into, like, his murderous, like, thoughts in one of the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Which one is Mark?
He's the editor. He only has, like, 2 or 3 lines.
Well, I love his
Okay.
line, too. Like, there's not much to sizzle around here.
Yeah.
Whatever it was great.
So, we bring in an older gentleman because the network wants an older researcher. So he's literally just like some old stage magician that the network, like, plugged in as a researcher. Like, he's like an actor. And his backstory is he used to do parties with John Wayne Gacy in the 70s. And
shit, the clown?
The clown, the murderous clown.
Oh, shit.
So he doesn't do a lot, but he's got a couple of small things that come up. He would be kind of creative because he's old and he's got, like, shady background with law enforcement.
No, hold on now. So you're putting off that creepy vibe.
Oh, thank you.
Is it no?
Thanks.
But, for that character,
I was just being me.
But is that similar to another character? Because what you just said with Mark is that he has murderous tendencies.
Yeah. So in episode 3. The group is dealing with the network telling them that they don't want them to do the same old haunts that, like, every show does. They want something fresh, and so he's like, what if we, like, kill somebody to, like, create our own haunting?
Okay.
And so...
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
James, that's the old guy, the old magician, he's not murderous anymore. Like, he's old. Like, he's out of it. If anything, there's going to be like a sort of mentor-mentee relationship a little bit later in the season.
I see. Yeah.
Because I'm going to work in there that he was actually the one who orchestrated all the killings, and John Wayne Gacy was kind of like the patsy.
Oh shit.
So we're gonna play around with
cool.
little stuff like that. So.
And did you also mention? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
Okay. That the network is this shadowy figure that's kind of Illuminati based ish.
Yeah.
Because I kind of was, when you brought that up, that was very interesting to me because I like small subtext kind of things.
Yeah.
Do you mean that in a way that they are somewhat paranormal and supernatural, or is
like
they just
or like emails?
Yeah. So we're gonna see like we actually do have a corporate episode that I'm writing, and like we're gonna see like executives walking around in, like hooded robes and shit, like because they came from a ritual of whatever.
Kind of like that.
I have a joke about the liaison, the showrunner. He makes a couple of jokes about how, like, we can't murder anybody for the show. Like, the network can't handle that kind of bad publicity. Not again. Like just kind of shit like that where we paint them like they're very much background, but their dark, shadowy influence is felt kind of throughout.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a work in progress. Josh sent me a bunch of other scripts, and hopefully I'll have time to look up the other episodes. And that's Para People.
What are your overall thoughts of where it's going? I know it's a pilot.
Okay.
Overall thoughts.
Overall thoughts. If I could just give you bullet points of my thoughts. Too many characters. Obviously, there's stronger ones than others. But that's just the nature of like the time allotted for an episode, obviously.
Right.
I would just watch out if there's doubles of characters or triples, to give each person a voice. But again, like if it's read by other people who you've casted and they read them differently and they give off a different vibe, that's totally different.
So I think at the beginning, and I've mentioned this before, is this something that you're trying to shoot and then sell and reshoot this? Does that make sense? Like, is this something that...
Yeah, some people do that.
Yeah.
Right. So is that kind of your goal, or is this like, okay, we're going to shoot this, use it, and continue?
That, yeah.
Okay.
So, like I said, our goal is to film the pilot. I wanted to shoot it in mid-October, but everyone's schedule is pretty booked, so we're looking at probably early to mid-November film the pilot. Once we have that done, use that as like proof of concept to try to get like grants or loans or like the Kickstarter fund me kind of thing. Even if we don't raise money, we're still moving forward with it. It would just be easier if we had a little bit of money for some of the things that we would need.
Yeah.
Right.
Like there's some good written shit that's out there that's barely funded. Like, that Neighborhood Watch one. I don't know if you know about that on YouTube. I'll show it to you before we leave, but you probably seen the Vine or the GIF on it, but I'll show you afterwards.
Well, mention that, because it's funny.
Huh?
Mention that video.
Okay, so the video is, there's a series on YouTube. I only think there's 2 episodes, but it's not done well, like shot-wise. It wasn't done well. Obviously, it looks like a bunch of friends that just got a video camera and started doing this thing. But I think the writing is fairly spot on for what it is. And it's a neighborhood watch. So it's a group of individuals from the same neighborhood, and they want to be the people that protects the neighborhood and from rapists, and shit like that. And there's this board that the leader had up, and there's pieces of paper covering words on the board, and then like one of them says there's only one thing worse. There's one that's revealed. It's rapist. Okay. And they're like, it's like, these are bad people, right? And then the leader's like, there's only one thing worse than a rapist. And then he like removes one of the paper sheets from a hidden word that was hiding a word, and it says child. And then one of the dudes in the table during the meeting was like, a child, It's like, no, a child rapist. That's the one thing worse than a rapist is a child rapist. And it's a good show. I'll show it to you afterwards.
We'll take a look.
Neighborhood Watch Patrol. I don't know. Listeners, YouTube that shit. It's good. I wish there was more episodes. If there were, cool. I guess I'll look it up. But obviously it doesn't have that much of a presence. But I guess I exhausted everything I have until I read more, right? And I'm excited to see this put out. If you can give me and Grahm at least some exclusive access to showing us a bit of what you did.
Yeah,
I love that.
I absolutely don't mind. We're going to be pretty friendly with the pilot once it's filmed to, garner interest and get people in, just interested in general.
Cool.
So.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love to see where this goes. One last question.
When
you are filming this, what kind of style? Like, The Office is completely different from It's Always Sunny, but very close to, what's the one you mentioned?
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
How do you see this being filmed? And I know that's not very, about this script other than, production, but if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, it's going to be like a single camera show. It's going to look more like The Office than It's Always Sunny.
Mm-hmm. Would Tim be that character?
Yeah. Tim's actually
so
going to be filming. Yeah,
like the whole thing. Like he is a person, and when Sean looks at the camera, he's also obviously looking at Tim.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, so we also play on that later on too, because the network brings in a network camera guy, and so it becomes like this weird power struggle with Tim and the camera guy.
That's funny.
But yeah, most of the time it is Tim who's filming everything.
That's cool.
Yeah. So the camera is an actual character in the show.
That's creative.
And
thank you.
Obviously, I mean, it's in their community as well, but that whole rivalry with different paranormal shows, are you going to explore that a little bit, especially with the personalities that are out there?
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna have fun with that too. One of the things that I really want to do is my sense of humor is pretty dark. When I used to do stand-up comedy, it was all pretty dark stuff. So like I just kind of want to push the bounds a little bit, make jokes that are like make people go like, oh shit, but I've actually kind of had that thought, so I guess that's I can laugh in secret. It's okay,
right?
We got incest going on a little bit. We got pedophile jokes, murdering homeless people, all kinds of stuff that we got going on. And it's all supposed to be taken obviously with a grain of salt. I don't believe in any of that stuff. I think it's all terrible. But it's one of those things where it's like, you look at shit like Brock Turner, he got away with like all that rape that he did, and people just don't understand what is and isn't rape these days, and it's just like I don't understand that, so I'm making fun of kind of how blinded and screwed up society is,
right,
with this group of like shitty people. So,
dude, damn, like I know you mentioned it, and I hope that you still play with the paranormal stuff, right? Are you? You're not gonna just dismiss it completely.
Oh,
right?
no. So like, it actually plays a big part in like, especially the finale. Like, okay. I mean, because they are supposed to be a paranormal group, but like much like Patty's Pub, like the gang owns a bar. They just almost never work there. Sometimes they do. Yeah. And when they do, shit goes crazy at the bar. So sometimes they do paranormal investigate. Yeah. It's just not the focus of the show. It's just
it's about the group.
Yeah. And their misadventures.
What I'm getting at that is like maybe during one of their investigations is like, how ghosts sometimes grope. Yeah. Or they like leave marks. Obviously you can play with that. Like consent. It's like, whoa, hey, Right. That'd be funny. Okay, but hey, that was Para People listeners and also viewers. Once you see our animated version of this,
will my character have a beard?
Of course.
Fuck yeah! When I was watching you guys when I was watching the shows on YouTube, I was like, I hope I have a beard on. Like that'd be.
I mean, if you came in without a beard, I'd be like, no, you're not getting a beard. What the hell? It's like don't shave. All right.
Now I'm excited to see my cartoon face with a beard.
Cool. And you do consent to that with the forms and shit.
Yeah, I consent.
Okay, cool.
Audio evidence.
There's not much I won't consent to. So
good to know.
Yeah,
good to know. All right, so that was Para People, listeners, viewers. If you have any questions directed towards Joshua Luna of how to follow Para People on its journey of being a series, just comment and reach out and do share and we'll probably be in touch and obviously give our viewers and listeners updates on what's going on with you and vice versa. Something. Sure. Yeah.
Like I said, I actually have a big production meeting Friday. We're going to start tackling a lot of the nuts and bolts of this thing, and one of the things is creating a website and like a Facebook page and like a social media, like Instagram, Twitter, whatever the hell it is we need. Right. And I'll send you guys that information when it's up and running.
Cool. Yeah. That sounds great.
So if you guys want to follow along.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything right now that I can plug in real quick? Is there anything out there?
I got just my podcast.
Okay. So Joshua Luna has a podcast. What is it?
It's called Cynically Insane.
Oh
no, I'm sorry. It's Cynical Pop. We changed the name.
Cynical Pop.
Cynical Pop. Yeah, Cynical Pop's the podcast.
And where can we find that?
We are on Google Play, Spotify, and Podbean.
Ooh. I haven't heard of Podbeam.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's it. And if you have any questions regarding Parapeople, if some of you listeners out there are also writers who would like to give Josh some feedback before he takes the deep dive, just comment, reach out, and then we'll send those questions, those things to Josh. Cool. I'm getting tired.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Cool. And
I could talk about this shit all day, man. So yeah, anyone's interested, hit me up.
Cool. Sweet. All right, and that's it. Please like this podcast, share it. Spread the word that Joshua Luna is putting something out there that seems really, really awesome.
Make sure you subscribe.
Yeah. Thanks, man. All right, cool. That's ending it. Later, people. Goodbye.